start the video and your voices will be distorted?
Yes, I'm aware.
You consent to that?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Alright, now that we got that...
What about my consent? I consent.
Do you consent?
No, I don't consent. Debate's over, son! It's over!
You have to consent for that.
Alright, fine. Just this time I'm going to consent. Go ahead.
Okay, alright. Jason, what is your reason to debate? What is your topic of debate that you would like to debate the professor at?
Okay, this is, it's actually in reference to a previous debate of his I had heard. It's the one you were debating, a woman, she was like a Christian or something, and she decided she didn't want to have sex until she got married. And,
Okay, so you're talking about it's sex in a relationship.
The rape debate.
Yeah, the one where the girl gets crying and all that shit.
Okay, and what about it do you want to debate? You're saying, what about it?
The thing that I really had the problem with was specifically, the professor had said that he feels that a woman who is raped within the confines of a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, whatever, should be held 50% criminally responsible for the rape, for, I guess, not being like a better judge of character and choosing to put herself in that situation. That's how I understand it. Is that correct?
So professor is claiming the girl needs to be accountable for her part, and your contention is like, that's not the case, that's a criminal thing, regardless if the girl is...
Well, basically that it's something that the woman, or even men, men get raped too, something that they couldn't reasonably really be expected to foresee.
Couldn't be expected to foresee. I like, Poser, by the way, that you're clarifying the issue as a moderator. I think that's
I figured I'd
brilliant.
clarify that way we're all on the same
I
page.
like how you clarify the arguments. So your argument is she's ignorant of what's going on, she's ignorant of male sexuality, she's ignorant of any kind of contract she's making, therefore she shouldn't be held accountable.
Well, I'm saying more, I think every person, you seem to be big with personal accountability, being held responsible and everything. You can, as a person, decide, hey, all right, I don't want to have sex until marriage, I can do that, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and that's fine. So long as she was upfront with her boyfriend, I really just don't understand at what point he's just allowed to fucking throw her down and beat the fuck out of her and fuck the shit out of her,
Right,
Okay.
For this debate, by person, you're referring to the girl whose accountability how accountable she is in the relationship. That's who you're referring to. The girl, mainly the girl, right, in this debate?
Yeah.
Alright, because person, guys, we're not discussing guy rape, we're discussing the accountability of the girl.
Okay, right.
You don't want to be all over the place, you want to stick to an issue. Okay, Professor.
Okay, so, I'm so distracted by your moderating. Sorry,
I tend to be an active moderator.
I gotta put my hand over your face, so I don't even, I can't cover you without covering me. So you're saying, let me clarify what you're saying, my opponent. What should I refer to you as during the debate, by the way?
Oh, you just call me Ian.
Ian, okay. So you're saying, Ian, that this girl isn't accountable for her behavior because she shouldn't be expected to know what to expect in a relationship?
Well, I believe that, as a person with, autonomy and everything, she's able to decide what she does or doesn't want to do within the confines of that relationship, and that by, raping her or whatever, then that is a major betrayal of trust.
Okay, then, number one, why is she in the relationship to begin with?
Why would anybody be in a relationship? Companionship.
Well, right, but, okay, so, it should be understood, at least for adults anyway, that relationships entail sex. And if you're not willing to have sex, you shouldn't even be allowed in a relationship. That's for starters. So, it's kind of like if you go to work and you apply for a job and you say, I'm coming to work, but I don't want to actually do any work. Well, a job entails work. If you agree to accept a job offer, then you're agreeing by definition of a job that there's going to be work involved. Just like a relationship, there's going to be sex involved. This idea of platonic relationships is complete bullshit, and it goes against. I don't
feel that it's necessarily platonic. It's it'll be romantic or whatever.
Not necessarily platonic. You mean a relationship between a man and a woman is not necessarily platonic?
No, just because you're not having sex doesn't necessarily, I think, mean it's that it's a platonic relationship.
So you're saying just because a man and a woman are
Okay,
not
moderator, shut the fuck up. Let me debate this guy. Holy Christ.
Well, I want him to clarify.
You clarify for you. How about you ask questions later? Let us debate this for a little bit. Okay, so you're saying that the relationship isn't platonic, it's sexual, but without sex?
Well, I said romantic, not sexual.
What is romantic if not sexual?
Well, there's that level of intimacy that men and women have with each other. I mean, just because you're not necessarily...
That's like saying you're having a relationship with your food by smelling it. I mean, you're getting close to eating it, but there's also relationships where you just smell food. Would that ever make sense to you? I mean, isn't any type of relationship isn't it implicit there's the culmination of the relationship? For instance, when I'm eating food, the end goal is to get the food inside me, to actually eat it, not to look at it, to appreciate the guy cooking it, to smell it, to appreciate the work that went into it, but to actually eat it.
You know what? I hear what you're saying. I think that the girl in question would probably argue that getting married and then having sex or whatever would be the culmination of that relationship.
Okay, great. So,
yeah.
So now we're talking about the timing, like whether you're, how long you should be able to drag this out. Again, if you're not ready for the relationship, you shouldn't be in the relationship. I mean, if you're not ready for sex, you shouldn't be in the relationship to start with. Just like if you're not ready to go to work, you shouldn't apply for the job until you're ready to actually work. You shouldn't cook your food until you're ready to actually eat it, not just stare at it or smell it. I mean, these are just natural things that go along with any functional relationship. The problem is we're talking about dysfunctional relationships and people forming dysfunctional relationships and then complaining about the consequences of dysfunctional relationships. Just like if you get into a homosexual relationship with another male, you shouldn't be allowed to borrow somebody else's sperm to create a baby because it's just, first of all, it's such an unnatural thing to get to get two other couples to bear a child for you or to artificially inseminate somebody and then consider that your child between two guys or two women. It's just not, it's not natural. And then if we start going off the path of natural functional relationships, I mean, why would there even be a barrier between like an adult and a child relationship, you know, a pedophile relationship or an adult and an animal? So once we start making such loose boundaries on relationships, it leaves the door open for anybody to justify any type of relationship.
I mean, I don't know if I totally buy into the thing with leaving the door open for animal relationships and child relationships.
Why not? I mean, we're just saying we're arbitrarily putting a limit on when we can have sex in the relationship, or who's or what the relationship actually dictates. I mean, if we're able to unnaturally state or apply boundaries to a relationship, why couldn't we just unnaturally remove them as well? What's the difference?
Well, as far as animals and children are concerned, I think the difference is, I mean, with modern science, we realize that animals have less developed brains than us, and a child's brain isn't full.
Well, that could be debatable. I mean, it would just like people debate homosexual relationships. Just because two people can't bear a child doesn't mean it's unnatural. I mean, people can make a case for anything. I mean, there's pseudoscience is applied all the time to justify things.
Well, I don't think saying that children and animals have less developed brains than adult humans.
Well, you would think, but there's also hippie movements that want to stop us from stepping on grass because now they assign grass feelings. I mean, there was a thread recently that said on Reddit that said lobsters and crayfish or some other low life sea creatures can now feel pain and suffering. I mean, it's absurd the number of justifications they're coming up with to pass their agenda. Now we can't eat meat because now lobsters feel pain or lobsters suffer. I mean, if you could use pseudoscience to justify that, you could use pseudoscience to justify a limitation or putting a limitation on something or removing a limitation on something, if you apply that kind of criteria to it.
All right, well, how about this? If you want to take things to like their total logical limit, let's go back to the girl who was raped in the confines of a relationship or whatever. So you're saying that it was her fault for choosing to be in that situation?
Yeah, if she's not ready to be in a sexual relationship, she shouldn't get into a relationship from the start. That's number one. Number two, she's the one picking to be in a relationship with this guy. She's not responsible for her own choices. I mean, at what point do we keep saving people from themselves? Why do we need the warning label on a plug? Saying caution could cause electricity. If you're stupid enough to plug that in, shouldn't you be aware of the consequences before you even are allowed to own a piece of electrical equipment like that, a toaster or a blender?
No,
same with a
TV. I hear what you're saying, but my real point of contention is the fact that she was upfront with it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to date a girl that didn't want to have sex. That fucking sucked. But
right.
I mean, I do think it's her right to.
Okay, I actually think you bring up a valid. I think you bring up a valid point. I think you bring up a valid point, in that she said she was upfront with this, saying, "I don't want to have sex." At a certain point, whatever. Number one, I don't believe she was that upfront, so that's debatable. I'm sure we haven't heard from the other side yet, so we're just going by hearsay. I don't think she was very upfront at all. I think she might have hinted around the issue, might have said something about the issue, but I doubt she was like fully 100% upfront. Just like when girls say, I'm upfront with my guy friends, I don't expect sex from them, or I don't want to have sex with them. That's bullshit. Otherwise they wouldn't be hanging around her in the first place. Their whole intention is to get sex from her. You know, the guys that end up in the friend zone. Girls don't explicitly go up to them and say, you know what, it's great that you're a friend, but I'm never going to have sex with you ever. I don't desire you in that way. If you try to put a move on me, there'd be no way, and I'd be disgusted and turn off, and that'd be the end of our friendship. No girl that I know of has ever been that honest with a guy. Even though I've heard girls say that, they say, "Oh, I'm honest with my friends all the time." Bullshit. When I've cornered them and asked them, "Have you said this? Have you said, look, I'm never having sex with you?" Of course they haven't. So women love to lie out of convenience when it suits their agenda, just like other people, just guys too. But the point is, I don't think she was 100% upfront. Number two, just to help people along, it should be implicitly taught and stated that relationships result in sex, and if you're not ready to have a relationship, you shouldn't be even getting into sex. Since we're going to make this a legal issue, I think we should make it legally part of the educational curriculum, sex ed, or at whatever point somebody's going to enter into a relationship, that they have to, if they're going to get into a relationship, then there should be some legal way for them to say, okay, I am acknowledging that there's going to be sex involved in a relationship. If I'm getting into a relationship, I'm acknowledging that I am now opening myself to the possibility of sex versus, trying to manipulate things as girls have obviously done in the society. We posted many videos about girls, taking guys on dates just so they could pay their rent and bills and had no intention of having sex with them. So obviously they're misleading the guys. So to save everybody the hassle of being misled, and to clarify the issue so there's no gray areas about the consent, women, if they really want to be this immature and put the burden on the state, then the state should put the burden right back on the women and say, look, if you're going to enter into a relationship with a guy, you are acknowledging sexual activity will happen.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you're saying the state should do this, but I mean, the problem is we're living in a world where the state doesn't do that.
Right. So if we're living in that world, we realize we can't have it both ways, which is what women want to do. They want to have the protections of children where they have no accountability for their actions, like this girl. And they also want to be considered adults like men, where all the accountability is put on them. But except instead of dealing with the accountability, they just want the privileges of adults to make decisions, to have authority, to have autonomy, that type of thing. So women need to decide. Yes, we know how it is now. We know it's a fucked up feminist world we're living in. We're not accepting the world we live in. We're saying that the reason why there's so many, the divorce rate's so high is because the state enforces these feminist laws, which enable women to be hypocrites in relationships and hold legal gunpoints to men's heads if they don't follow suit. That's why we have so many men who are rebelling against the idea of marriage, rebelling against the idea of getting into a relationship with a woman.
Right. And those men, they're exercising their personal, basically they're doing whatever they want to do.
They're not doing whatever they want to do. You're not hearing me. They're actually doing what they don't want to do. Men want to get into relationships with women, and they will even go the other step of marrying a woman, but because of feminist laws, which are hypocritically allowing women to not be held accountable for their actions, they are now protesting marriage, protesting relationships. The divorce rate is, the highest in feminist countries because of this. So It's not what men want to do, it's what they're forced to do because of the abnormal legal climate created by feminist laws, which again, remove the rights of men and give extra rights and privileges to women.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying there. But, we're only really examining, female deception, which, every guy's fucking experienced, it sucks or whatever. But, isn't the equivalent of a woman who wants to, have a guy take her on dates, bring her out to dinner and shit like that, isn't that the same as a guy who, he lies about his age, he's fucking, 5 different girls, and he's got, the collab or some shit, he's still banging chicks, you know what I mean?
Okay, so here's the thing, we should make both parties accountable. We already hold men accountable for this. There was just a case in India where a guy was held liable for accused of rape because he said, "Hey, I want to marry you," and had sex with this girl, and then he never intended to marry her, so it was under false pretenses. So now he's charged with rape. If men are going to be held to such a high standard of accountability, then shouldn't women be held accountable as well for taking dinners from men who they don't even intend on getting into a relationship with? Shouldn't women be charged with fraud?
The thing is holding those women accountable and having maybe some sort of punishment. That idea does appeal.
Some sort of punishment? So you think men should bear the full brunt of sexual accountability?
No, that's not what I said. No, I said maybe some punishment or whatever, but I'm saying at what point are you able to, alright, my girlfriend doesn't want to have sex with me, at what point are you able to throw her down on the bed, beat the shit out of her, and rape her? Like, it seems like there's a disconnect.
Well, I wasn't there, so I don't know if he just threw her down on the bed and beat the shit out of her and raped her. That sounds like a feminist fairy tale. Just like the chick who told a tale about a guy just coming up to her, grabbing the bow. Supposedly she put a bow on her child's head, and as he was going to Walmart, he grabbed it off, smacked her child, and called him a faggot and walked off, just so she could get sympathy. That's a feminist fairy tale. So nothing happened like that. So when a woman tells you, oh, he just beat me up and brutally raped me, and then I'm the innocent victim. First of all, I've learned in this life, I know you haven't learned, but I've learned never to trust a woman when she's telling me a story. You always got to get the other side, because we posted enough stories of women telling fairy tales, and women are very good at crying too and manipulating men through their tears. Just outright bullshit just to get their story across. So that's number one. Yes, if a guy just grabs a girl off a street and beats her and rapes her, he should get the full punishment of the law. That's a despicable crime. But you're talking about a gray area where there could be ulterior motives, where a woman's trying to get assets from a man, money from a man, custody from a man. I mean, she can make any number of claims. So instead of putting the burden on the state to figure out who's lying and who's not, we should, from the start, use preventative measures and say, look, sex is implied in this relationship. If you get in this relationship, you're going to this relationship knowing you're going to have sex. If you don't want to do it, then don't fucking get into the relationship. That alleviates the taxpayer burden of having to deal with your lies and bullshit and deception, and dealing with the other party making accusations, or sorting out the woman's accusations, what's true and what's not. Wouldn't it be better to just have a preventative measure and force the other person to become an adult and say, look, if you're willing to take this gamble, you need to take the risk that comes along with the gamble? Wouldn't that be a much smarter option than saying, well, let's just allow her to be a child and make irresponsible decisions, and then we'll just fork over billions of dollars having trials and trying to figure out which part of her bullshit story is the truth? Which sounds more reasonable to you?
Well, listen, I mean, once again, we're talking about what should be happening versus what is happening.
Right. I mean, we deal in what should be happening, not what we accept today. Because if we were just going to go by what we accept today, we would say, oh, get a hooker, it's cheaper economically. I mean, if we were dealing with what's happening today. So
plenty of people go that route.
Right, but we're not advocating go for hookers, just like we're not advocating punching yourself in the face, just like we're not advocating go get a tattoo. I mean, there's plenty of parts of culture today which are fucked up. I mean, if we were living in 1865 when there was slavery around, should we just go, well, that's part of the culture today, just accept it. Just, you're a slave, you're black, sorry nigger, you got to work in the field today. Just accept it. That's the current culture we're in.
We should necessarily accept that.
That's exactly what you just told me. You said we shouldn't deal with what should be. We should deal with what is.
Yeah, what is? I'm talking about this one woman's specific story, which
Yeah, but this is one woman's specific story. We care about the general point it's making, or the principle that's being applied to everybody's story eventually, because these legal cases become case precedents for how people deal with future issues along the same lines of a relationship, or a court case coming up where your wife is suing you, or something along those lines. They look at previous case precedents, previous legal decisions. So this is relevant to other people's cases. If it was just her case, it'd be one thing, but it's going to apply to society at large.
Right. No, that is a good point. I mean, honestly, I almost kind of feel like we don't really have much to argue about, because, I mean,
you just said the woman shouldn't be held accountable for her decision. I'm saying the exact opposite, that she should be held accountable, especially if she wants to be considered an adult. Like a man will have accountability put on his shoulders by default, even as a young child.
Well, how far do we take that, though? I mean,
how far do we take it with men? How about just as far as men, since women want equality? How about we take it just as far as men?
Well, maybe we could back up off men, sort of even it out and actually achieve equality. I mean, I'd kind of be into that, but
You'd be into that? Well, then you'd be in a lot of things that you're not arguing for, which is personal accountability.
You don't think I'm arguing for personal
accountability? No, I definitely don't think you're arguing for personal accountability, because if you were arguing for personal accountability, you'd definitely see my point that by making a woman accountable and a man accountable for getting into a relationship and knowing what to expect, then if they suffer some problem within that relationship, that's a result of their choice to get into the relationship in the first place. So it should be on them. They should be accountable for that. Right, why isn't that? I don't understand how that isn't personal accountability.
Okay, so what you're saying is that, all right, you start dating a girl or whatever. There should be a schedule when she's going to be having sex with you.
No, it should be taught though. It should be taught, which isn't taught, that getting into a relationship, Either we want to do it at the school level or just have a fucking pull everybody out of work like they do for sexual harassment and pull all men out of work and say, here, watch this sexual harassment film. We should be just as childish and have the same film about relationships and say, here, Johnny and Sally are getting into a relationship. Now they're gonna fuck. This is what's expected in a relationship. If you don't want to get into a relationship, then don't, or if you don't want to fuck, then don't get into a relationship. Brought to you by Hasbro or Nabisco or whoever wants to sponsor it. But now we have some legal document saying, look, you're responsible. If you don't want to get into this, if you don't want to risk having sex, if you don't want to risk any of the consequences, don't get into a fucking relationship. Just like it would alleviate the problem if you don't want to get in the hassle of an accident on the freeway. Don't drive. Go walk. Go ride your bike. If you don't want to risk getting burned with hot coffee, don't drink hot coffee.
Well, I mean, you seem like I'm assuming are you like a libertarian? You got that whole sort of slant.
I don't like to affiliate myself with political parties because I think some of them all have a ridiculous views to a certain extent. I like to affiliate myself with the political party of common sense or reason. If there is one, I'm going to start one because I believe that everybody's views should be put under public scrutiny so that we could come up with the best views versus just saying, I align myself with this political position, even though it's 80% of the things I believe in, 20% of it are bullshit. No, I don't believe in that at all. I believe we should be have the best views possible, and the only way we can get that is like through these discussions, these debates where we reason out. If you have a disagreement with me about accountability, we should be able to have a debate or a discussion over it and see why. What area are we missing? What area are we falling short in? Because we are applying these views to everybody. I know fucktard liberals or other hippies love to say that, oh, everybody's an individual. But they're fucking lying hypocrites because they know very well that these individual decisions will become social policies, which govern everybody, and will become legal policies, which govern everybody. So it's not so simple to just say, oh, it's just your personal view, or oh, this is just the way you do things. No, because it affects everybody. And if it affects everybody, everybody needs to be educated, and everybody needs to be held accountable to the same standard.
I mean, if we're laying down these super hard and fast, black and white, like real, hard-ass rules.
Well, as opposed to gray rules where we have today, where we have all these types of bullshit cases clogging the court system, and we need all these bullshit lawyers because we have so many gray areas. That's the alternative, what you're offering. Instead of black and white, instead of clear decisions and clear precedents and clear laws, black and white laws as you term them, you'd rather have gray laws where we have bullshit amount of legislation, bullshit amount of lawyers, and bullshit amount of new laws designed to circumvent all the little loopholes which everybody's going to find anyway. Just like the tax code is ridiculously labyrinth in nature because we have so many people getting through the gray areas. There's no black and whites. Okay,
so you're arguing that the justice system, you'd like to see it like streamlined.
Yeah, very streamlined. It's a fucking joke today. I mean,
no, it absolutely is. I do agree with you there. But I mean, I feel like you're kind of arguing for like limiting personal freedom. I mean, to some degree.
I am arguing exactly for that limiting person. I mean, don't you realize that to have security, to live in the United States, you have to limit your personal freedoms? Like
we're getting way more into that, obviously.
Well, right, but that's the principle. You're telling me limiting personal freedoms is a bad thing, or that we don't have to limit our personal freedoms. And I'm telling you, to even be a citizen in a certain country, you are already obligated to limit your freedoms. We have to obey the traffic laws in the United States. We have to obey the legal laws in the United States.
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like it's maybe now we're arguing over whether or not we should limit our personal freedom. It seems like we're arguing over to what degree we should be limiting personal freedom.
Okay, right. And I'm saying that if you want to be an adult, you have to set an adult standard that applies to everybody. It can't just apply to men. Can't just apply to women. It has to apply to everybody. If you can't meet the standard, we shouldn't consider you an adult. We shouldn't give you the rights and privileges of an adult.
Well, what is the male standard that you're referring to?
That men already in this country have all the sexual accountability on their shoulders. I mean, look at bar cases where both parties are drunk. Who gets charged with rape? The man. Why?
Yeah, I mean, I totally disagree.
There you go. Prime example of men being held accountable for women's behavior.
Yeah. Oh no, I can't argue for that.
Well, but see, we've already set the precedent. We're just going further and giving women more privileges and more rights with less and less and less responsibilities. And who are those responsibilities going to? They don't just disappear. They have to be put on somebody's shoulders. They have to be accounted for some way. They go to the man, who is the adult, who is the default adult. That's why women today are the default children.
Okay, I mean, I wouldn't argue in favor of that, though.
You're arguing in favor of it right now.
I'm arguing in favor of not raping your girlfriend because she wants to save herself or whatever. I'm not arguing.
Yeah, but the way you're couching it is the same way I'd couch a feminist argument saying, well, I'm not in favor of this strange man coming over and grabbing the bull off my head and slapping in the face and calling him a faggot. I mean, when you say it that way, even though it's a complete hoax of a story, then yeah, of course I'm against that. I'm against that too. I'm against burning innocent babies in trash bins. I'm against that too. But the way you're couching it is the way a feminist would couch it, just like she'd call anybody that disagreed with her a misogynist. Are you a do you hate women? I mean, how do you want me to answer that? No? Okay, then therefore you shouldn't do this? No, that's not how reason applies. You have to look at the case, just like I presented the facts of the case, or I present the principle behind the case and what we're dealing with. That's how the argument should be addressed, not simply your summation of the argument, your deceitful summation of the argument. That's not what we just talked about.
I'm sorry, you lost me a little bit there.
You summed up the argument as you're continually doing. So we should have let guys beat up their girlfriends and rape them. That's your summation of the argument, which is clearly not the case that I just argued. So when you sum it up that way, you're already demonizing the enemy. You're demonizing the opposition. You're demonizing men. You're demonizing the whole argument I'm making. I mean, what if I said the argument was, so you're saying we should just throw all men in jail and kill them?
No.
I mean, I can sum up my argument that way. That's a conclusion eventually where your argument will end.
Might as well tell you my personal feelings on rape. I feel like if it's been proven in court beyond a shadow of a doubt that someone was raped, just...
Have you checked any of the cases we posted in our visitor section about proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's rape? Have you checked out the Brian Banks case? Have you checked out any of these cases where women have made false allegations in court? Or where the prosecutor, the one who's supposed to be the just one, bringing the case to the state, has been into shady shit? You heard any of that?
Yeah, I've heard of a lot of shit like that.
Okay. So,
but this goes back to the way things should be versus the way they are. I mean, I'd like to see our justice system be better.
Well, you just said the way they are. You just said, well, if the rape is cut and dried, yeah, sure. Maybe if we have them, we have a video surveillance of a guy abducting a child off the street. Great. Throw him in jail and bury him under the jail. Execute him. Yeah, no, but if we're talking about a gray area where there's a relationship and all kinds of other issues involved, and there may be other ulterior motives, and nothing's clear because one person, the woman, wants to have the state assign all the accountability for her decisions to the male, then you're talking about a totally different issue. You're talking about an adult pretending to be an adult, but still wanting the advantages of being a child, the protections of being a child. We're telling this so-called adult to make up her mind.
Well, you know what? I mean, one thing is I'm taking her story completely at face value.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Okay, no.
I'm not. I've learned not to do that.
No, I didn't think you were going to bring that up. That's an interesting point. I mean, obviously there was no fucking criminal investigation or anything as far as I know. I don't know the actual facts of the case. I'm arguing her story or whatever. I mean, obviously I think the police or whatever should investigate.
No, look, classic example of a bullshit case that's publicized, like Rihanna's case with Chris Brown. You see all her injuries, right? And you think, fucking terrible guy. Look at all these injuries. This is obviously a clear-cut case. She's got a picture of her face all battered up. Does a police report, or I'm sorry, does a media publicize Rihanna attacking him first?
No, I'm sure that no.
So should she be held accountable for attacking him or not? Just get off scot-free? Because she got off scot-free. She's called a victim.
I've got no problem with hitting women.
You have no problem hitting women, you just got a problem with raping them, okay.
Okay, no, I go out on the street sometimes, it's the fucking first chick I see. But anyway,
do you see what I'm saying? When you just simplify it as just men raping women or just men battering women, when you don't hear the other side, when you don't see that Rihanna instigated this violent confrontation, but she's called the victim the whole time, the victim.
Yeah, but that's bullshit.
You say that like it's obvious, but then you're all on board for this supposed rape here and how it happened and what should be decided based. Well, I can't tell you how many guys were outraged.
Face value, you know what I mean? I don't know all the facts. All I know is what I was told. You know what I mean? That's what
right. So what? I mean, but every guy, or not every guy, so many guys have already messaged us. So many white knights, just like you, have messaged us and said, "This is outrageous. How dare she's crying? It must be real." I mean,
that's not really my fucking.
That's not. Well, what are you basing it on other than what she told you?
Well, she said she had her ribs broken. She did say she went to the hospital and there was a hospital report detailing her injuries, right?
I don't know.
Okay, but I thought that had happened.
I haven't seen the hospital report. Just like I haven't seen the videotape of the chick who said that a man slapped her son and called him a faggot in Walmart when it obviously never happened.
Yeah, I'm sure that didn't happen.
Yeah, but she said there's obviously videotape of that in Walmart.
So
why aren't they showing that?
No, so I mean, there are some of those clear-cut cases where a person who's fucking deranged or whatever.
Obviously there's clear-cut cases, but we don't want to base our legal precedent on these obvious cases when this is not an obvious case. It's a gray area. It's a relationship. People are agreeing to get into this relationship. All types of other ulterior motives comes in. What about child support? When women, the majority of, not majority, what was that article? Women are making accusations of either my husband raped me or molested the children so they can get custody of it, and judges themselves are coming out and saying this is an epidemic.
Yeah, no, I'm well aware
so
of that.
So when we allow this, why not nip it in the bud? Why get into the legal hassle and force the state and the taxpayers to support a child who's not ready for a relationship?
Or
a child posing as an adult.
Or, wants to just exercise her personal freedom.
What's that?
Somebody wants to exercise their personal freedom. I mean, so you're saying...
No, she's a child posing as an adult and then dragging everybody else into it, dragging me into it as a taxpayer. Why am I forced to support her idiocy? Why am I forced to support her hypocrisy? Why can't she be forced to be accountable for her own behavior?
All right, this girl in question, what is her motive for lying about this?
I don't know. I'm not a mind reader, but I know there's a number of motives that have come out. We've had motives from girls making false accusations of rape against guys for not wanting to get in trouble, being out past curfew. With a gangbang case, neighbor feud. The case I just posted was a neighbor feud, and now she made he raped me. He held me up against this pole and raped me in public.
All right,
obvious bullshit case because there was cameras there and no surveillance of this caught on tape. Obvious bullshit. So you make it sound like there's got to be some super significant reason for a woman to lie. All that has to happen is for the law to be in her favor and to be no consequences for lying. If there's no consequences for lying, it doesn't matter if the reason is a huge significant reason or just a minor reason like I just didn't like him or it was inconvenient for me or it was just something easier to do. Just like the woman in London who accused some guy of raping her just because she needed an alibi versus it wasn't actually a person she knew. It was just a stranger she picked.
I do totally agree with you there.
I don't think you agree with me.
Okay.
I think your arguments tell me exactly the opposite. I'm trying to tell you why your argument is bullshit. And you keep saying we agree, but yet you haven't specifically shown how we agree.
Alright, when did I say that I don't think that fucking making a false rape accusation should not be punished?
Never.
Did I say that? I never said that, right?
No. But you keep saying, going back to, I think we agree on this. We don't agree on this. So why would you say we don't agree on this? Or why would you say we agree on this when we obviously don't? I'm talking about peripheral cases that shed light on the issue that we're talking about.
Yeah, so you're saying because there are numerous bullshit rape accusations, we should just throw rape as a crime out the window?
Throw rape as a crime out the window? No.
Yeah.
We're talking about in the context of, I already said it multiple times, if somebody grabs a girl off the street and they're a stranger, that's a different scenario altogether than if they're in a relationship and it's a gray area.
Okay, so you're saying that spousal
Yeah,
rape
but again, like a feminist, you keep summing up the argument in some ridiculous way that's never intended. Just like saying, are you against babies being burned in trash cans? I mean, what kind of argument are you making?
Like your argument, you're talking to me for a long time. I mean, I can't memorize every goddamn word you say,
Yeah, but I've been telling you, I've been repeatedly telling you, again and again, this is not about a guy grabbing a girl off the street. I mean, this is in the context of a relationship. That's why I've only been mentioning relationships.
So I'll edit my previous statement. Instead of saying we're going to throw rape as a crime out the window, we're just going to throw spousal rape out the crime.
Yeah, quote, quote, spousal rape, just like, quote, quote, domestic violence.
Okay.
And just like hate crime. These are all liberal catchwords to to make women the default victims. There's no domestic violence, there's just violence. There's no hate crimes, there's just crimes.
Couldn't agree more.
There's no spousal rape, there's just rape. So if you're in the, we're gonna make people accountable.
Okay, so why wouldn't we hold, if someone decides to rape their wife or whatever, why wouldn't we hold them?
Again, we have already decided that if you're getting into a relationship, that, yes, we know it isn't, but it should be, that both parties should be held accountable for their decision to even create the relationship. And if they don't want to have the sexual relationship, don't fucking get into the relationship in the first place, and don't burden the state, and don't fucking burden me.
Okay, well,
I don't want to pay for you being a baby. I don't want to pay for a woman being a baby pretending to be an adult. If you're an adult, fucking be accountable for your own behavior.
Okay, so you're saying...
Nope. Hello? He cut off. No, he didn't rage quit. This is not a rage quit. He is still there.
Jason, are you there?
He just froze.
Your connection looks like it lags out.
Well, I guess it'll be time to go around for some audience reaction until he gets his connection back.
Audience. Let's start with, let's see. General Butt Naked.
Oh, he's back. Hold on, we're back. Go ahead.
Okay. Continue. You cut off for a while. Hello? Are you there? Oh.
He's lagging. You're lagging.
Alright, okay, fine. Well, I don't know if I...
Go to reaction.
Alright, audience reaction. General Butt Naked, are you there? General? Alright, General's not there. Barrick, are you there?
Barrick.
Barrick? Okay,
Yeah, you here?
Oh, okay, you're back. Dude, I think your connection's really lagged out.
Your connection is lagging. Just go to audience reaction.
Yeah, alright, DBE. What's your reaction to this debate?
My reaction to this debate is, I think a lot of the reasons, like, I've noticed recently, we get a lot of guys that say, I agree with everything in the ebook.
Your connection's lagging. Hold on a second. Jason, your connection's, I'm sorry, Ian, I forget your name. Anyway, your connection's lagging. It's back right now. It seems okay.
Okay. I got 5 bars. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Alright, DB, we'll get back to your reaction.
Sorry, DB, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying that you want to limit, that you're in this country, you should not be free to say, all right, I want a boyfriend or whatever, and I don't want to have sex until I'm married.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're not adult enough to be in a relationship, you shouldn't be allowed into a relationship.
Okay, I mean, you know.
Look, it's getting to the point where I would be okay with a law that said, if you date a man, you either have to legally pay for yourself or blow the guy after the date so that you don't defraud him out of the money. I'm perfectly okay with that law too. Because we're allowing women to commit wholesale fraud. I mean, they're no different than hookers other than they just don't put out. It's like when you pay a hooker, she's supposed to put out. But when you pay a woman, an American woman dating, or even women in other countries date, and you date them, it's not guaranteed that they're going to put out. They just take your money and say thanks.
You lagged out again.
Oh, he keeps lagging out.
Alright. We'll try audience reaction.
DB, go ahead.
DB, go ahead.
We'll let him finish his, even if the guy comes back, we'll let DB finish his audience reaction.
Okay, he left. It looks like his connection comes.
Yeah, go ahead, DB.
I think that, a lot of the reason why guys, they like agree with the accountability aspect, holding people accountable on paper, but deep down, they know, even though they may have some feminist views, I think deep down every guy knows women don't have the same capacity as men, no matter what they say outwardly. So for them, it's like, the idea of blaming a woman for rape or holding her accountable for rape, it's like they can't accept it because deep down they know women don't have the capacity to be accountable.
Yeah, this is also the real. You've hit on a real problem here, which of the feminist movement is that guys are conditioned by feminists and everyone around them growing up to assign women equal status as adults. So in theory, in political theory, women are supposed to be just as accountable as men. But in whoever's typing, stop typing or mute your mic. Mute your mic. But in practical everyday life, men obviously know growing up that they could beat a woman. They're smarter than a woman. I mean, beat a woman in sports. They're more athletic than women. They always go easy on women. You know, they get made fun of it if you got beat by a girl. They say you got beat by a girl, or you hit like a girl, or you throw like a girl, or that's chick logic. So all around them in their practical life, they know women are weaker than them. They're inferior intellectually and physically, but only in the media, only in social politics are they taught that women are the same as them, or are equal to them. So they're conditioned to repeat it and regurgitate it and think it. But yes, you're absolutely 100% correct. Men don't innately believe it because every dealing they have with a woman is more evidence that that's bullshit. So there's always like a conflict in their head.
There's that, and it's kind of like they say they want women to be equal, but like I said, there is that conflict. But I guess even the guys, when they're talking about equality, and they're talking even when they're talking about equality, they still can't accept it because deep down they do know that just won't work. And it's very, very clear with you, Jason, because whenever professors giving other examples of mismanagement of accountability, where a guy's being held 100% accountable and a woman isn't being held accountable, you say, yeah, I agree with that. That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. But you're not connecting it back to the rape case in a relationship, or the quote-unquote rape case in a relationship. So the fact that you can't do that and that you're not seeing that connection tells me that, you still have that, for lack of a better term, white knight mentality.
Hey, Jason, sorry you got cut off, so we were just going around giving audience reactions. Mr. Jason Voorhees, Jason from Friday the 13th. How's your connection? Is it better?
Your connection?
Can't hear you. Your microphone's muted. Your microphone's muted, I think. It's turned off. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, there you go.
Hello? Testing. Nope, still can't hear you.
Jason, your audio's not coming through, so we're gonna continue with the audio.
Oh, there you go. I heard you. Say it.
Okay, all right.
There you go.
Right.
You're good. You're good.
All right. Jesus fucking Christ! I lost my train of thought. What was like the last thing you were saying? You remember?
We were talking about.
What's that?
The last thing I was saying, I was talking about how.
No. He's talking about the last thing he was talking about.
Oh, I thought.
Poser, do you remember? Moderator?
But
The moderator was asleep.
Actually, so many things have been said since then.
I think we left off, if I can recall, we were talking about the overall accountability issue, like who should be held accountable. Should women be held accountable in the context of a relationship, or only in dating, or whatnot? And I'm arguing that women should be held fully accountable, just like men are held fully accountable. DB's point was that innately men know through experience in dealing with women that women are inferior intellectually as well as physically. We say don't throw like a girl. A girl beats you. The WNBA is a joke. So we know through experience that women are inferior in these regards. Men made all the inventions in society, so we're obviously much brighter than women. But we're taught, whatever we're talking about, actual teaching, not just observations. The teaching is just the opposite. Our culture is exactly the opposite of what we observe. So what we naturally observe is that women are just inferior to men intellectually and physically. But what we're taught is the opposite, that women are smart, strong. All the movies are women kicking ass and blah, blah, blah. So he's saying that you're having symptoms of this, like this white knight syndrome, where you rush to the defense because that's what you're taught, but you don't actually believe it. That's why guys have trouble putting the accountability on women.
Well, let me ask you, wouldn't it, by having that white knight syndrome or whatever, wanting to rush to the defense of women, doesn't that show the fact that you acknowledge the fact that women are physically weaker?
Yes, that is exactly what that is acknowledging.
Okay, and one thing I will say is, I don't think women are intellectually weaker. They're more like right-brained as opposed to left-brained.
I don't know what that means. That's almost like saying they're emotionally intelligent.
It's, that's basically the argument I was going to make. For example, I recently broke up with my girlfriend. When I had a girlfriend, if I was upset or whatever, you could always tell how I was feeling. You know what I mean? She was very in tune with the social.
So she could tell that you're upset, so that makes her smarter than you.
That's not the full extent. No, she was just very much more in tune with the whole sort of just social interactions and how to do stuff. I guess.
Did she write a book on social interaction?
Yeah, she wrote 3. Now she did that.
She wrote 3. Of course not. Did she teach men around the world about how to socially interact? No.
Probably.
If I taught you how to interact socially, you would be 1,000 times brighter than her.
Okay,
it's a matter of education. Even what she naturally has as a so-called intuitive person, I know you're feeling sad. We could teach you 1 billion times more about, 1 billion times more refined knowledge and information about social interaction than she ever could.
Maybe, I can deal with people. I have a job. I'm not like a total fucking recluse. But, she was just...
Well, we could tell you how to do that in a much better way than versus just being able to show up. There's crazy people that have jobs too.
In Christianity, I'm going to go to heaven and not go to hell. You can tell me anything, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Right. That's why we like to demonstrate what we teach here. We're like real scientists here. We don't believe in conjecture like feminists. We believe in actual observations, actual, results.
Yeah, concrete shit. That's great. You should definitely use observation and stuff. It makes sense. I really, you don't, even just the way you're talking to me right now, you don't really seem like going to be able to teach me much about social interactions.
Okay, well, I beg to differ, but you're free and entitled to your opinion.
Okay.
Any other parts of this issue you want to debate?
Any other pearls of wisdom? No, we disagree. We disagree, man.
Okay, so be it. We'll let the public decide. As always, this is why we host these debates, so we'll post it on our YouTube channel and let people hear it. If anybody wants to debate further about it, they're more than welcome to. This is why we have these debates, so we can put all our views under public scrutiny so people can see what both sides are trying to say, and they can draw their own conclusions, which we believe everybody should be free to do.
Absolutely.
We'll continue with the audience reactions.
Yeah, we're going to do some audience reaction to the debate. If you want to stick around, that's fine, or you're...
Yeah, I'll stay around.
Go. Okay, let's go ahead.
DB, your event, so General Butt Naked. Reaction.
General Butt Naked!
These debates, I've heard this same debate so many times over and over to the points
have pretty much been clearly stated, as DBE alluded to, and it's funny because I was imagining this while I was hearing the debate.
Hold on a second. Hey, hold on a second. Poser, can you mute his mic because it's getting a little feedback?
Oh, okay, sure.
Thanks. Go ahead.
What was it? What is he going by? The person that was debating?
Just call him Ian. Ian or Jason. Jason Voorhees or Ian, either one.
Yeah, I imagined Ian just like the first person like running down that hill to attack a man based on the fact that some woman over there just said that she was attacked without getting the full story. That's exactly what I was picturing the whole time he was talking, because he kept on saying, I understand, but like you said, he wasn't showing that he understood through his communication. I think at some point, I could kind of feel where he had lost bearing on the argument because he kept on just repeating himself without showing a different angle on why he still held the point. It was just repeating himself. And I don't know, I'm hoping he got the point, but I mean, there were so many holes, all the examples the professor pretty much gave that I was going to give all the examples of when just saying random comments and later on finding out nothing's the truth. So the first thing I was going to ask him if he had been to the lounge and seen the plethora of stories of women lying in order to bring attention to themselves or not be held accountable for something. So I think everything was pretty much clearly said by the professor in this debate. I didn't hear enough from Ian for me to even begin to say anything to his side because it was just him repeating himself. But I felt more like he's just trying to hold on to his argument than listen to reason at this point. There was like nothing that let me believe that he's actually picking up on what the professor's saying.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And you're still getting feedback from you. Ian. All right. DBE, since Jason is here now, he didn't get to hear your previous...
Well, we heard it already. It's already on the record, so let's go to somebody else.
Okay. Let's see who else is there.
Zymox.
Rocky, do you have anything to say, your reaction to this debate? Rocky? All right, Rocky's not here.
Rocky's here. He's too shy.
Can I just add a different point that I didn't touch on?
Go ahead.
Not Jason.
Ian. Sorry.
Ian, you were kind of saying, I agree, this makes sense, but you weren't, and you were saying, and then you would say occasionally why you disagree, but you never gave any kind of justification for why you had the view that you did. You just kind of said, you would kind of just make a general catch-all statement like, hey, you shouldn't rape a woman. It's like, what guy's going to disagree with that? No guy's going to say, hey, yeah, let's just rape chicks. No guy's going to agree with that. But you were using that in place of real arguments, so it was very difficult to listen to you because it kind of just sounded like you didn't really want to discuss what you thought. It sounded like you just wanted to hear what the professor said instead of opening up your view and getting the scrutiny.
All right, thank you for that, DBE.
Zymox, go!
Zymox,
Is that No, that's Mr. Bullshitsky. Sorry, I keep calling him Zymox.
Sorry, Mr. Bullshit. Do you have any reactions to the debate?
Yeah, this is my first debate, so I was really looking forward to it, and I thought that maybe there would be a big confrontation. Or
a fight, like we just punch each other through the screen.
It would be violent. Yeah, I expected a fight, but there was nothing like that, and so...
You were disappointed there was no bloodshed, no virtual bloodshed.
I was disappointed by that, and it was boring. And also, I didn't learn anything new, so overall it was just disappointing for me. I expected much more.
Moderator, I'd like to enter in the record F this guy.
Yeah. Sorry we couldn't provide you pay-per-view entertainment. Okay, let's go on to Barrick. Unmute your mic and tell us your reaction to the debate.
Can't hear you, Barrick.
Hear you. Okay.
Alright, so I agree with a lot of what DBE said, that the debater, Ian, he agreed with a lot of the side cases that Professor proposed and brought to the debate and everything, all the other arguments about the debate, but he didn't connect them to the rape case itself. So, and I don't know why he couldn't do that. It was really weird to me because he agreed on all those points, but he couldn't connect them to the main argument, and it was just frustrating to listen to that.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Barrick. And now going on to, let's try a new guy.
Slow guy.
Marco, do you have a reaction to the debate?
Yeah.
Speak up.
Okay. Here. First of all, I want to say that according to my beliefs, as I am traditionalist Catholic, I am against premarital sex in all circumstances, but according to traditional Catholic teaching, it is the first end of marriage is procreation, therefore sex. First goal of marriage, primary goal of marriage is sex and children. Yeah. So on that point, if you are entering a relationship that will culminate with marriage, you should be expecting sex in marriage. In general, sex. And Catholic theologians say that it is not recommended to enter a relationship if you're not expecting to get married with that person. So it's basically this. Don't get into a relationship if you don't want to have sex. So it's basically it's just a temporal thing, timing of sex, and yeah.
But your reaction to the debate, it agrees with your philosophy.
Yeah, generally I agree with the professor.
Please let it be noted that I do not agree with any Roman Catholic theologians.
Yeah, okay.
Other than where they cross unintentionally.
The principle, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
And I want to say just one thing about the common sense party. It's basically you are acknowledging that that objective truth exists and that we can know it, and that's just it. And I could group you in a monarchist party.
Okay, all right. We're going to last.
Poser, you got the mute button on this guy. Come on, this guy's a new student. If he sounds insane, like a rambling cat lady, your job is just to mute him.
Okay. Sorry, Mal, I didn't do that. Slow guy, your reactions.
Okay, well, when I listen to this debate, most of the time Ian just agreed with the professor up until the point when it comes to rape. And I didn't really even see a debate there. I mean, the professor said you should do this and that, and that you're a white knight, and then Ian just said he doesn't agree on that, and that's where the debate ended. I didn't really see even really a debate, because in the end nothing happened. I didn't understand anything.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that, slow guy.
My reaction to that is, what the fuck? Where do we get these guys from? Sorry, people in YouTube land, for the homeless people we rounded up for this debate.
Rocky, do you want to contribute a reaction, or you're still shy? Okay, Rocky's still shy. CD, Carlos Danger. I don't know.
No, he hasn't been here. He missed it.
Hasn't been here. Okay, so it looks like we got a pool of the audience reactions, and I'll unmute your mic. Ian, hopefully there's no sounds. Okay.
Yep.
We'll give you the last word. We're gonna close off the debate. So go ahead. What do you have to say? You heard the reactions.
No, I mean, I understand where everybody's coming from. I mean, honestly, I wish, yeah, I mean, and I will say, I'm the one who chose to debate now. I actually do wish I had decided to give myself a little more time so I could organize my thoughts a little better. But, I don't know. I had fun. I mean, me and the professor, we do disagree, but, I mean, he brought up some interesting points, and, ultimately, I mean, I think it was a good experience. Thanks for having me here.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming here.
You're welcome to the chat room, or to ask questions, or even to enroll. Woo!
I'll think about it, man.
Yeah, check out the ebook.
All right, boys. I'll see you later.